If you are anything like me and you want to get a better understanding of all the things that are happening in your body, but don't want to pay thousands of dollars here in the US to do so, then this video is for you. So I was recently in Thailand to host the Black Girl Getaway retreat in Phuket. And afterwards, I wanted to treat myself. It was also my 31st birthday. And there have just been several things happening in my body that haven't made sense. And the doctors that I've gone to here in the US have not been able to give me any sense of what's really happening and what direction I need to take going forward. So I was on TikTok, of course, and learned that there's this whole movement around medical tourism where you can go to other parts of the country where they are offering the same services that are here in the US, but for a fraction of the price. So I ended up going to this hospital called Bumrungrad in Bangkok, Thailand, and they had a ton of different programs that you could choose from to figure out like what exactly is happening in your body for whatever needs you have. So there were some for um, female, for male, people who are in their, you know, teens, 20s, etc. Like you could really go through and based off of what they are screening for, you can select your program. So I chose the executive female program and I'll drop a link with, the details, but I'm gonna try to go off the dome and remember what all I did. So EKG, X-ray, blood work, um, urine sample, stool sample. What I loved the most was they did a ultrasound of my entire abdomen so that I could get a better sense of what was going on in there. And they literally went through all of the organs and were like, okay, this is what your spleen is looking like and the health of it. This is, gallbladder. Of course, I really wanted them to look at my ovaries and my uterus, especially since we are gonna start trying for kids soon, and that was a big thing for me. Like, I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything that was being overlooked with the standard, um, pelvic scans and all of that stuff that they do at the OB. And yeah, it was a full 4 hours. So they also um had JW Marriott was the caterer for all of the food. So that was cool because once you got through with like all of your uh tests and whatnot, you then could have food while you wait for all of the results to come back. And by the end of the 4 hours, there was a doctor who did a full comprehensive review of like, this is what's well, this is what's not looking well, here are the levels that you need to be at. And I appreciated that they also shared context around like, this is the threshold for diabetes. This is the threshold for um, high cholesterol where you're going to have to start taking prescription if you don't get it together. And that was enlightening because I think, we go through the standard stuff in the US, but sometimes the guidance around like what we actually need to do within a certain time frame is very unclear. So, yeah, they first took you to get your all your vitals and then blood work. Personally, that is the bane of my existence is the blood work because I have really small veins and it usually takes at least one prick for them to be able to get in one of them. But they were so apologetic. Like I told them I was like, I have really small veins. I've been drinking a lot of water. The first try, they were not able to get in one. But for the first time ever, instead of continuing to try to poke me with that same butterfly needle, they instead went and found a pediatric needle. And so it was like a pediatric butterfly needle, so it was smaller, and they were able to get it in another vein in one go. And that even was eye-opening for me because I've had times when I've gone to the hospital and they have poked, one, two, three, four. Next, they're on my feet trying to use the ultrasound machine to try to find a vein. And it's like, the solution is actually just give me a smaller needle so that it can actually, get into my vein. So that was a big lesson learned. Going forward here in the US, I will always be asking for the pediatric butterfly needle. So that was cool, not cool, but it was eye-opening. So that was the first part. That was like part A. Part B was going through and getting your EKG and your um like abdominal ultrasound and all that jazz. So that was fascinating because they actually have you like it's not just like, quick scan. They literally go through every single organ and like kidney, for example, I'm pretty sure kidneys are on your side, but kidney, they would have me on one side and then they would put me over to the other side. And because I had specifically told them that we're looking to get pregnant soon, they brought in a doctor that specializes specifically in um, all things OB. And so that was really great because they originally probably would have just like moved me on to the next room. But it was nice to feel like my voice was heard and my asks were delivered on. So that was part B. C was the samples. So you had to drink enough water for your ultrasound in order for them to see what they needed to see. I don't know, girl. But was drinking a ton of water so that the ultrasound could come out clean. Once that was done, C was doing all of um the urine and stool samplings. So shout out to the people who can shout out to people who can literally be told, okay, it's time to go number two, and you just go. That's not my lived experience. So I ended up I did the urine one with no issues, but then for the stool one, I had to actually go through and eat some of the high fiber food that they had provided from the JW catering, and then drunk like 2 cups of coffee, and that ended up helping me go. But I appreciated that it wasn't like, dang, if you can't get it on this first try, you missing out on that part of the experience. So that was interesting. The last part was part D, where you actually, on the female side and with the package I got, did a pelvic exam and then a pap smear. So I will say I was on my cycle when I went, and when I called at first, they told me I wasn't going to be able to do the pap smear and the pelvic exam because yeah. But when I got there, they were like, yeah, it'll be no problem. And I really appreciated that, it wasn't going to be a waste of money. And I really did want to get that pelvic exam as I had shared because we're looking to get pregnant soon. So yeah, that was good. And the reassurance that the doctors provided was much needed. I was definitely feeling like I wasn't just a number. And I did ask them, I was like, hey, how many people do you all see every day? Because just in the time that I was there, it felt like there were at least 20 of us, and they told me it was over 100 that they see a day. But I valued how comprehensive the 4 hour visit was, and it literally took 4 hours. So yes, if you have been considering, medical tourism, maybe you no longer have insurance here in the US, or maybe you are going to be in Thailand or Turkey, I've heard also has really good programs. Definitely, consider spending the extra money and just investing in um, your health and making sure that everything is good on the inside. So, um, yeah, that is all for today's video. I did share earlier that I hosted the Black Girl Getaway in Thailand this year. I will be hosting another one in Asia in 2026. So if you have been eyeing a spot or two in Asia. Stay tuned. I do have a link in my video description for getting on the waitlist for 2026. So if you do want to be one of the first to know, and if you are serious about getting that luxurious retreat experience outside of this country, highly recommend taking a look. So that is all for today. Hope you have a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.